Om Nilambujasyamalakomalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panau Mahasayakacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, who is very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side, and he is carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. The subtle meaning we have explained before. We are coming to the present topic in Sri Ramcharitmanas, Balakanda, Doha 21. And in this, between two Dohas there are chaupais. So presently, between 21, 22, 50% in the middle. Saint Tulsidas gives a profound epilogue to the devotional work of Sri Ramcharitmanas, a work of profound significance. In literature, it is flawless and profound. In mystical insight and devotion, it's unparalleled. And talking about the world literature. Japahi namu jana arat bhari, mitahi kusankat hohi sukhari, Rama bhagat jagachari prakara, sukriti charyu anaga udara. Devotees, during difficult times, they do Nama Japa. Nama Japa means Ram, 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 Ram. And using a broader understanding, any Ishta Devata of yours has the same power, because all Ishta Devatas are same God with different names. Japa, very term Japa is very great importance. Jakaro Janma Vicheda, Pakaro Papanashana. Ja relates to breaking the chain of birth and death. Pa relates to destroying all sinful karmas. Now you can figure that out for the details. Japa, the simplest of spiritual practice, but with most profound implications. People turn to God when there is no other support in difficult times, and miraculously the dark clouds of adversity move away and they find themselves emerging brighter than before. Mitahi kusankat, the adverse situation moves away and they become happy. Rama bhagat jagachari prakara, sukriti charyu anaga udara. Devotees are of four types. All these four types are profoundly righteous. They have done many good karmas to develop devotion. Anaga udara, they become sinless and they develop expansion in their heart. Udar, magnanimity. Now that relates to many scriptures in India, especially the Gita, where Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Chaturvidha bhajante mam, janah sukritino Arjuna, artho jigyasu artharthi, jnani cha bharatarshava. That's in the Gita, 7th chapter, 16th verse. Let me give you insight into first, four types of devotees. Artha, devotees who turn to God in distress. Artharthi, who turn to God for fulfilling a certain purpose. Purpose can be anything. You want to pass an examination. You want to have success in business. You want to tide over certain difficult time. There are many types of purposes. And most generally, to have various resources in life. That's called Artharthi. General masses, for them having prosperity, wealth, and they turn to God for multiplying their money. So, Artharthi, Jignasu, people who turn to God for understanding the mystery of life. Who am I? How am I related to God? How am I to attain liberation? And fourth type are those who have attained knowledge. All this is God alone. Therefore, their mind goes on melting in the love of God. These four types, they are described in the scriptures from various angles. The very general teaching is Dhruva, the illustrations from the scriptures. Dhruva, the son of a king, but he had two wives. The younger wife didn't like Dhruva. And so she scolded him, if you want to sit in the lap of your father, then you should have been born through me. You are not entitled. I'm just giving a very rough summary of those stories, big stories. Dhruva goes to his mother complaining. Mother says, God can give you everything. So turn your mind to God. Dhruva practices intense austerity, meditation on Lord Narayana, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya with a mantra. And Lord Vishnu comes and asks him, ask any boon. By that time, he said to God that having seen you, I need nothing. All my desires are fulfilled. But Lord Vishnu gives him both. The moksha, where all desires are fulfilled, and kingdom. He becomes the heir apparent to the throne. So that's Dhruva's story. Is Artharthi. Draupadi's story is Artha. In Mahabharata, Draupadi was dragged into the royal assembly and terribly insulted. And all people were seated there, they could not do anything about it. All that you have to go into study. I'm not elaborating it now. During that time, Duryodhana, who is the embodiment of tamasic ego as well as ignorance, he began to insult her and wanted her to be placed on his lap without clothes. And Dushasana dragged her into the assembly, and he took the task of unrobing her. At that time, she turned her mind to all people for help. With 5 husbands, they couldn't help her. And all people were confined to their own concepts. She turns her mind to Krishna. And a miracle happens. Her cloth begins to, a magical set of cloth began to appear in her body. And Dushasana goes on drawing the cloth, and like 7 different colors. The cloth is very fashionable. See, he goes on drawing one after another until he gets exhausted and faints. All these stories have simple taste, simple, profound stories, but they are all allegorical. Just I'll give you simple insight. Draupadi is Viveka Buddhi, intuitive intellect. Intuitive intellect is constantly insulted by Dushta Chatushtaya, the 4 aspects of your mind that are negative. If they are positive, that's wonderful. The negative, Shakuni is the unconscious. He is the gambler. Duryodhana is the ego. Karna is the intellect. Dushasana is the little mind. All these 4 are under Rajas Tamas, impure. And they go on dragging your own understanding in the midst of this whole world is there. And your own understanding is degraded, insulted, humiliated, and people don't realize it. Until you get another set of Shishta Chatushtaya, where Arjuna is the soul, Yudhishthira is the chitta, Krishna is the intellect guiding the whole thing, and Bhima is the mind. I will not go further in that direction, but just to give you an idea of profound meaning behind scriptural stories. The first type of devotee, first let me give you the scriptural. Artharthi, I pointed out Dhruva. Artha Bhakta, Draupadi. Jigyasu is the inquirer who wants to know more and more about God's nature. And that's Uddhava, Krishna's boyhood friend in Bhagavad Puran. And then Bhakta, who is Jnani, enlightened. And therefore he has no other choice but to love God. Shukadeva, Vyasa's son, is the glorious example of Jnani Bhakta. Now let me give you a very simple understanding. All these 4 apply to every individual. They follow the plan of integral yoga. For 4 purposes of life, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Dharma is the basis for a spiritual movement. Masses remain far from spirituality until they encounter something that shakes them. Just to give you a humorous illustration, episode. There was a professor, extremely atheistic in mind. He had set his goal that he will not allow his children to turn the mind to God or godly things. So in his old-time story, in his home he had a big blackboard. He always stood upon a little chair, and whatever he wanted the children to know, he would write on the blackboard. And one day he felt so bright. He wanted to give the central teaching of his understanding that God doesn't exist. So he writes on the blackboard, God is nowhere. And his 5-year-old boy looks up and he reads. But he tries to read at that very time. Something happens to his bench on which he stands to write on the blackboard, and he slips. While he slips and he is feeling his pain, the boy reads, God is now here. Try to see the how quickly your mind can turn from this ego-based vision. God is nowhere. I am the only one. And how quickly it can change, because you live in a world that is far beyond your understanding. Within a moment, you can be shaken like anything. So, that predicament, if you want to remove that predicament, follow Dharma. So the movement towards Dharma, being righteous, that should become the central purpose of your life. That's the message of Artharthi, a constant reminder that all the world cannot help you. You are helped in two ways, your self-effort and grace. So do not spend your time in finding evil in others. That has no purpose. They are not going to help you. If you find anything in others, it is not others they are going to help you, but your own karma, your own effort. If your effort requires others to join with you, that is a different story. But ultimately, your own effort emanating from your own heart, along with your effort, grace. Purushartha and grace together. That, when that enters Bhakti, you begin to taste the miraculous effect of devotion. So everyone is Artha Bhakta to begin with, as the essence of Dharma enters your heart. Artha Bhakti, seed of Artha Bhakti enters your heart. The next thing you want, Artha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Artha, resources to allow your personality to be spiritually enriched, materially, spiritually. Love of God will enable you in a most profound way. Your karma will become karma yoga. And third point, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Kama, desires. Desires of your mind obstruct your understanding. But you develop a keen taste for knowing what is desirable. What do I really want? When that develops, you have become a jigyasu bhakta. And finally, when intuitive knowledge has started dawning upon your mind, you become jnani bhakta. So in other words, all the four stages are aspects of integral yoga. Chahu chatur tahu naam adhara, jnani prabhu hai vishesh pyara, All these four types of devotion, their foundation is Nam. Foundation is Japa of your Ishta mantra. And the culmination of this devotional movement, the culmination of the integration process of personality is Jnana. Jnani Prabhuhi Vishesha Piyara. So if you have developed a profound knowledge, Aham Brahmasmi, I am that am I, love of God has reached its highest. Remember this statement, Lali mere lal ki jad dekham tit lal. I went out to look for the beauty of my beloved, and wherever I turn, I see the glory of my beloved. Until I myself turned into the beloved. As your mind goes on looking for the glory of God, spread everywhere, until you come to realize the very source of all the glory is your own innermost essence. The I am in you is like the sun. All the glories of the world are illuminations of the sun. That state is the goal. And that goal is described two ways, Jnana and Bhakti. Not ordinary bhakti, is called parabakti. Parabakti, in supreme devotion, you and God who is loved both become one and the same. Sakal kamana heen jay Ram bhagati rasaleen, Naam supreme piyusha har prid, Tinahu kiye manameen. Those who have become free of all desires and allowed their mind to enjoy the nectarine bliss of divine name. They have turned their mind into a fish that swims and delights in the lake of divine name. This is a poetic writing. The only point that is being given is that mind begins to enjoy japa as if a fish is enjoying a beautiful lake, a lake which is a lake of nectar. Turn your mind into a fish. Think of a lake of nectar, and that lake of nectar oozes out of japa. And keep your mind immersed in it. You will never be a mean person. Mean in Sanskrit is fish. Aguna saguna dui brahma sarupa, akatha agadha anadi apanupa, more mat bad naam duhu te, kiye jehi jug nij bas nij bhute. Brahman has two aspects, Nirguna and Saguna. Saguna, when you are meditating on Brahman in the form of Rama, Krishna, Shiva, all these forms are Saguna Brahman. Brahman with attributes. But when you are meditating on God without name and rather without form, but with attributes, let me give you a sequence of 3 types of meditation. First type is Saguna Sakar. That's the 3 steps. They are not meant for you to choose one or of the 3, but understand all the 3 are needed for integrated movement towards God. Saguna Sakar, that's first. Meditating on God as Rama, Krishna, Shiva, with the form. form and attributes. That's called Sagun Sakar. Sakar is with form, Sagun with attributes. Next stage, Sagun Nirakar. God has no form. Your mind doesn't go after forms, but goes after attributes of God. In the same meditation, you may begin with Sagun Sakar. Your mind becomes deeply concentrated. The moment mind is concentrated, form drops away. But God's abstract nature enfolds you. That happens even with people. Your loved one wants to look for you. You are coming from a foreign land. And first stage, the mind is focused on finding it. Seeing your face with specs and with your whatever feature you have. But once the loved one has come close, now the physical appearance moves away. And you are thinking of the deeper connection that you have with father or mother or loved one. In the same way, first you want God with form. But the moment the mind has started becoming involved, the form drops out. And God as mother, God as father, God as joy, God as peace, that aspect of God becomes predominant, begins to enfold your mind. So that's what we call Sagun Nirakar. But even that, when you go deep in Samadhi, the ego itself drops away from you. Then there is neither name nor form. Nirguna Nirakar. God is without form and without attributes. You don't have to say any attribute, don't have to define any, to have a definition of God in your mind. Your mind simply becomes immersed. And what Tulsidasji is saying, Ram Nam leads you to all the three variations of Upasana. Nirguna and Saguna, these are two predominant aspects of Brahman. Both of these are indescribable, unfathomable, beginningless, incomparable. But greater than these two forms, in my opinion, Tulsidasji says, the divine name is greater. Divine name excels Saguna Brahman, Nirguna Brahman. Because by repeating the divine name, you can enjoy both types of divine communion. Communing with Saguna Brahman, communing with Nirguna Brahman. Both become possible by japa. In other words, the importance of repeating the mantra, that's being pointed out to you. Proud hi sujana jani janani janaki, kahau pratiti priti ruchi man ki, ek daru gat dekhi eki eku, pavaka mama jug brahma viveku. Those who are spiritual seekers, they should not consider my words as just poetic illustrations. But what I am explaining to you is based on my Vishwas. Vishwas means deep conviction, deep trust, prem, love, ruchi, my mystic taste. And he gives a simile. Nirguna Brahman is like non-manifest fire. Saguna Brahman is a manifest fire. You bring a fuel. Fire is hidden in the fuel. If you create a friction in it, fire will arise. When fire arises, it is Sagun with attributes. When fire is hidden, it is Nirgun, attributeless. Simple simile is being able to explain. Both of them are one and the same. Divine name enables the fire to emerge from the non-manifest state to manifest state. To put it another way, the divine name highlights both states, Nirguna state as well as Saguna state. God is all-permeating, one without a second, imperishable, absolute existence, absolute consciousness, absolute ananda, bliss. Asa Prabhu Hridaya achata avikari, sakala jeeva jagadeen dukhari, nama nirupan nama jatanate, so pragatat jimi mol ratanate. That God whom we have described dwells within your heart. He is the source of your mind, intellect, ego. And yet, in spite of the fact that God, who is absolute love, absolute joy, abiding in the heart, and yet people suffer from intense miseries. This is a great mystery. All jivas are deen dukhari. They are in utter misery and pain. But having known the importance of divine name, the Sanskrit term is Nama Nirupana, having correct evaluation of divine name, this is the topic for mantra initiation. When you are initiated into the mantra, that's what you learn from Guru. The 4 points are explained to you. Swarup. Who is the deity behind your mantra? What that deity implies? That deity is Brahman, the Absolute. Different gods, there are different aspects. So if you have a mantra of Shiva, then you must view all gods and goddesses, different aspects of Shiva. And worshipping Shiva, you are satisfying all, speaking figuratively. On the other hand, if you have Ram, then Ram becomes the foremost, and all gods and goddesses, they are his aspects. Because God is only one. The sun is only one. You can call the sun by different names. So that's the Swarup of God. Further Swarup is Satchidananda. God is existence, knowledge and bliss absolute. Next point, Mahima, the glory of God. The entire world is filled with His glory. See how you are fashioned. From toes to the head there is mystery. With what intelligence even your hair grows, with perfect precision. Consider the lilies of the field, how do they grow? So Mahima term. Third point, Rahasya. Rahasya is mystery. Say for example, Ram. The R term relates to the root letter of Manipur chakra, solar plexus. The R term is to awaken a dormant energy. Therefore, in languages, when you are being given instructions, run, rise, and so forth, R term is used. That's the rahasya of R. M term relates to amrita, nectar in your crown of the head. From navel starts the spiritual movement, culminates at the crown of the head, Sahasrara Chakra. Ram covers this entire range. And this is one aspect of how the divine name impacts upon your personality. That's called Rahasya. And now, lastly, Prabhav, the effect of japa. In the beginning, your japa becomes conducive to concentration, meditation. Your japa does many good things. But as you advance, mantra chaitanya is awakened. And that makes your mantra like a dynamic power. All these points, that's called Nam Nirupana. Divine name, Nirupana, evaluation. By reciting the divine name, by doing japa of the name, with shraddha, with faith, Brahman becomes accessible, speaking figurative language. Just like you have a jewel in your hand, but you don't know it. You are going to throw it away. But someone points out it is a very costly jewel. It's worth an immense amount of money. The moment you know it, you hold it. It was there, but it was just a weight on your palm. When you know it, it becomes of tremendous value. God is there in your heart, but you don't know it. Japa brings about the meaning, the significance of divine presence. You begin to know what it is. What's the source? Who is enveloping me? Who is sustaining? Who is my innermost essence? When that becomes clear to the mind, now situation of your life is totally different. You have discovered the diamond. Before, you didn't know it was a diamond. Nirguna te ehi bhati bad, nama prabhav apar. Kahau nama bada Rama te, nij vichara anusar. Divine name is greater than Nirguna Brahman and Saguna Brahman. It's an allegorical statement, implying that by doing japa, if your focus is on Saguna Brahman, you will have darshan of Saguna Brahman, you will succeed in that project. If you have your focus on Nirguna Brahman, the divine name will promote Nirguna Bhakti. Devotion is of two types, Saguna Bhakti, Nirguna Bhakti. In Ramayana, there are two illustrations. Bharata continued his devotion to Rama, staying in Ayodhya, and he is Nirguna Bhakta. Lakshmana did separate himself from Rama, he stayed with Rama. The two types of bhakti, Lakshmana type of bhakti is Saguna Bhakti. Bharata type of bhakti is Nirguna Bhakti. Both bhaktas, they repeat the name Ram, 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 Ram. Also, these two types of devotion, they are interlinked. And a devotee, profound devotee, has both aspects. Saguna Bhakti allows you to be inwardly filled with God's presence. Nirguna Bhakti allows you to develop friendliness towards all, to see the divine presence everywhere. Sagun, Nirgun, both together constitute complete devotion, perfect devotion. In a storyline, Lakshmana, who is Saguna devotee, works with Rama, he always loves Rama, but there are times when he sits with Rama and asks about Rama's glory. And Rama has to give him philosophy about himself. Bharata, on the other hand, holds Rama's sandals on the throne and constantly worships the sandals, though Rama is not there with him. So Nirguna holds on to some subtle essence of Saguna. Saguna holds on to some essence of Nirguna. These two aspects are interrelated, so you do not confuse your mind. And with this, we will conclude. Om Shri Ramaya Namah, Om Shri Ramaya Namah, Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.